Car repossessions are at their highest level since the Great Recession, with millions of Americans losing their vehicles.
It's a question dividing economists.
Some people think that we're headed for a recession. Other people think that will remain positive, but growing only slowly.
More people are falling behind on their car payments, and when that happens, lenders can step in and repossess those vehicles.
Banks dumping $75,000 trucks for $15,000. Secret repo market exposed. Right now, the same $75,000 Ford F-150 Lariat and Ram 1500 Limited your dealer wants to strap you to for $1,000 a month are crossing a different lot for $15,000 to $20,000. Same engine, same trim, sometimes fewer miles. Just none of the balloons, free coffee, or pressure speech. Picture this. A family stretches for that dream truck, misses a few payments, and one night, it quietly vanishes from their driveway. But that truck doesn't disappear. It drops into a hidden repo pipeline almost nobody talks about, where banks are desperate to dump it fast and move on. Somewhere, a clean title F-150 that's stickered at $75,000 is about to cross the block in the high teens, and your local dealer will never say a word. So here's the question. Are you going to keep signing the payment they put in front of you? Or are you finally going to step into the side door they never talk about and grab the same truck for a fraction of the price? You walk onto the lot because you just want to look, and the first thing they point you toward is a truck that costs more than your parents' first house. The window sticker on that F-150 or Ram doesn't say $35,000 anymore. It says $58,000, $62,000, $67,000. You laugh a little because the number doesn't feel real. The salesperson smiles because it feels very real to them. And then they say the line every dealer leans on when the price sounds insane. Don't worry about the price. Let's talk about the payment. That's how people get trapped. Over the last few years, a huge number of buyers signed up for truck payments at exactly the wrong moment. Prices were still sitting at post-pandemic highs. Inventory was tight. Interest rates were the highest they'd been in more than a decade. Instead of waiting, people stretched. The average new car payment blew past $700 a month. On a $65,000 or $75,000 truck with lousy credit and a long term, you weren't talking $700. You were talking 4 digits. $1,000, $1,100. $1,200 a month for 6 or 7 years. On paper, it feels just barely doable. The finance manager spreads the loan over 72 or 84 months and circles the monthly number like he's doing you a favor. You sit in that little glass office, staring at the keys on the desk, and convince yourself you'll just cut back a little in other areas. Eat out less, work a little overtime. Maybe rates will come down later and you'll refinance. You sign anyway because the truck is right there. You've already pictured it in your driveway, and the pressure in that office is designed to make you say yes. Then real life shows up. Groceries get more expensive. Rent jumps. Your kid needs braces. Interest on every other bill climbs at the same time. That $1,000+ truck payment that felt tight but possible suddenly feels like a third roommate that eats before anyone else gets to. One month you're a few days late. The next month you're 30 days behind. You tell yourself you'll catch up with your tax refund, or your bonus, or the side job you haven't started yet. By the time you hit 60 or 90 days past due, the lender has already moved you out of customer and into recovery. Somewhere, a repo company has your address and a description of your truck on a clipboard. While you're still trying to figure out which bill to pay first, they're already planning the exact night your $75,000 pride and joy quietly leaves your driveway and enters a system that's about to sell it to someone else for a fraction of what you agreed to pay. When the tow truck leaves and your driveway is empty, your story with that truck pretty much ends. the bank story is just getting started. They didn't send a flatbed out in the middle of the night because they wanted a shiny new F-150 in their collection. Banks are terrible car dealers. Every day they hold that truck costs them money in storage, insurance, and paperwork. From the moment it hits their lot, the clock is ticking. First, the truck doesn't go straight to some secret auction. It usually lands in what's called a redemption lot. Think of it as purgatory for vehicles. By law, in most states, the original owner gets a short window, usually somewhere between 10 and 30 days, to come up with the past due payments, the fees, and the towing costs to get their truck back. That's the last off-ramp before the lender takes full ownership. Most people never make it. If you're already months behind on a gigantic truck payment, finding thousands of dollars in a couple of weeks isn't realistic. Once that redemption window closes, the bank officially owns the truck, and they flip a mental switch from collect payments to dump this asset. From there, the truck moves into what I call the repo pipeline, and it has 3 main exits. The first exit is the wholesale auction network, places like Mannheim and Odessa, where franchise dealers buy inventory. Those lanes are dealer only. If you show up without a license, you're not getting past the gate. The second exit skips wholesale entirely. Some banks and credit unions just list their repos directly on their own sites or partner platforms where regular people can buy with no dealer in the middle. No balloon arch, no free coffee, just a price and a title. The third exit is where things get interesting. Public auctions. That's where anyone with no dealer license and no fancy connections can stand in the same lane as the insiders and bid on the exact same trucks. Most people never see any of this. All they experience is the truck disappearing one night and a charge-off on their credit report. But behind the scenes, that same $65,000 or $75,000 truck is moving through a process designed to get rid of it fast, not squeeze every last dollar out of it. On average, when a vehicle gets repossessed, the remaining loan balance is only about 60 to 80% of what the truck is actually worth on the open market. Take a $35,000 truck. It might still have $28,000 left on the loan. The bank doesn't need $35,000 to be whole. They just need enough from the sale to cover what's owed, pay the auction fee, and close the file. If the truck brings $22,000 at auction, they take it. If it brings $18,000 and the fees are covered, they take that too. Multiply that math across millions of vehicles, and you start to see why repo auctions so consistently land 30 to 60% below what the same trucks are stickered for at the franchise dealer down the street. That urgency is what creates the window where a $75,000 truck can realistically cross the block in the high teens or low 20s if you know how to step into the system designed to make it disappear from their books as fast as possible. Zoom out for a second and look at the scale. In 2024, roughly 1.73 million vehicles were repossessed by banks, credit unions, and finance companies in the United States. Analysts going into 2025 were projecting over 3 million repos in a single year, a level we haven't seen since the 2008 financial crisis. A huge percentage of that isn't junk. It's late model, high-trim trucks, families stretched too far to afford. The lots are overflowing. The lenders are motivated. Every one of those trucks is a liability they're legally obligated to liquidate. That's the backdrop behind the phrase, banks dumping $75,000 trucks for 15 grand. They are not holding out for perfect retail buyers. They are trying to stop the bleeding on their balance sheets. That's why you're seeing clean title trucks, the same trim levels your dealer wants to strap you to for $1,000 a month, crossing quiet blocks in the high teens, low 20s, sometimes even down around 15,000. Not because someone made a mistake, but because the entire system is built to move these trucks fast, not to protect the sticker price your salesperson keeps pointing at. If you understand how that system works, you can choose the exact moment to step in and pay far less than the person who originally drove that truck off the dealer's lot. Up to this point, the repo pipeline might still sound a little abstract. Banks, auctions, liquidation. Let's get concrete, because there are 4 actual doors you can walk through as a normal buyer to tap into this system. No dealer license, no secret handshake, just you, a screen, and a truck. The industry would really prefer you never saw at that price. Door number 1 is credit unions. All over the country, credit unions quietly list their repossessed vehicles directly to the public. Sometimes it's on their own website, sometimes through a partner platform called CU Auctions. Credit unions are member-owned nonprofits. They hate sitting on vehicle inventory even more than banks do. Their goal is to get that truck off the books and clear the loan, not maximize profit per unit. That's why you'll see clean title trucks posted at asking prices, already 20 to 40% below Kelley Blue Book private party value, often with maintenance records attached. A site called repofinder.com aggregates a lot of these listings and connects you straight to the lender. No middleman fee, no dealer markup in the chain. Door number 2 is Copart's Bank Repo channel. You probably know Copart as the salvage auction where wrecked cars go to die, but they also run a separate lane dedicated to bank repos with clean titles. Membership is around $200 a year, and you do not need a dealer license to register. Once you're in, you'll see late model trucks that regularly close 30 to 55% below retail book value. These are the same kinds of trucks your local dealer is putting under bright lights and charging full retail for. The difference is, you're seeing them before they're washed, detailed, and marked up. Door number 3 is SCA Auction. It runs on the same basic idea: public registration, a dedicated repossession category, and a constant flow of trucks coming in from lenders who just want them gone. Every week, more units arrive with the same basic story. Someone stretched too far for a payment, hit the wall, and now the lender needs this metal off their balance sheet. Door number 4 is the one almost nobody talks about: the GSA fleet auctions at autoauctions.gsa.gov. This is where the federal government sells surplus and repossessed vehicles, including a steady stream of pickup trucks, directly to the public. GSA trucks are especially interesting because they are maintained on strict manufacturer schedules. Independent tracking of GSA auction results has found savings in the 40 to 60% range below equivalent retail prices on trucks. Between these 4 doors, credit union repos, Copart's Bank Lane, SCA, and GSA, you are looking at thousands of trucks a week moving quietly through a system that was never designed with you in mind. It was designed to keep banks and the government from drowning in inventory. Your job is just to step through the right door at the right time. Standing in a lane full of trucks you cannot believe are that cheap is the fun part. The part that actually makes you money happens long before you ever hear an auctioneer's voice. You do not just want a cheap truck, you want the right truck. You want the $75,000 F-150 or Ram that you bought for 20-something to still be the truck you are happy owning 5 years from now. That starts with understanding that the metal you can see is only half the deal. The paper you can't see yet is the other half. The first question you ask on any repossessed truck is simple: does the seller have the title in hand right now? Some listings are marked title pending, which means the lender hasn't finished the paperwork to get a clean title from the state. Buying title pending isn't automatically disqualifying, but you need to know exactly when that title will be ready and what steps they still have to complete. If the timeline is fuzzy or the seller can't explain the process clearly, you move on. Next, you look at the kind of title you're actually buying. A clean title means the truck has never been declared a total loss. A salvage title means it was totaled at some point. A rebuilt title means it was salvaged, then repaired and inspected to get back on the road. Repo vehicles can be any of these. Banks usually finance clean title trucks, but title washing, running a salvage vehicle through another state to bury its history, is more common than most buyers want to believe. That's why the history report isn't a suggestion. It's your only defense against a truck that looks perfect and carries a past that will wreck its resale, its insurability, or both. Finally, you make sure nobody else still owns a piece of what you're buying. The lender selling the truck should be clearing their lien as part of the sale, but should is not good enough. When you're writing a 5-figure check, you get written confirmation that the lien will be released and that you're receiving a title with no other financial claims attached. If there's any hesitation, any missing paperwork, any "we'll sort that out later," you treat it like a warning siren. A true repo win is not just a cheap $75,000 truck in your driveway. It's a truck with a clean, properly transferred title, no hidden history, and no one else's debt attached to it. Before we go deeper into exact trucks and real numbers, there's one more thing you need if you want to actually win long-term with a deal like this. You don't just want a cheap truck, you want the right truck. If you haven't already, grab my free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. It walks through the specific models and brands most likely to nuke your budget with repairs and depreciation, so you don't save $10,000 at the auction and lose it all in the shop 3 years later. Hit the link in the description and download it before you chase any specific truck. Now let's put real trucks and real numbers on the table. A 2022 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew with the 3.5-liter EcoBoost and around 38,000 miles carries a private party value in the mid-30s. At a dealer, especially if it's certified pre-owned, you're staring at high 30s to low 40s on the windshield. At a credit union repo sale, that same truck typically opens in the low 20s and regularly closes between the mid-20s and high 20s. Add the buyer's premium and a few hundred in fees, and your all-in cost lands in the high 20s to low 30s. You've just saved thousands versus the dealer on the exact same truck. Push it up a trim level. A 2022 F-150 Lariat with the 501A package sits on a dealer lot at roughly $50,000. That same truck, repossessed and run through a bank auction lane, routinely crosses the block in the low to mid-30s. Slide over to Ram. A 2021 Ram 1500 Limited with a retail sticker north of $65,000 when new is showing up at repo auctions with under 40,000 miles at closing prices in the mid-30s to low 40s. You're essentially buying a high-end truck for mid-trim money. The discounts aren't uniform and they're not guaranteed. They float based on condition, title type, market conditions, and how many informed bidders are in the room instead of emotional ones. But the pattern is real and repeatable. The distance between a dealer's $65,000 or $75,000 sticker and a repo auction's mid-20s or low 30s closing price isn't a unicorn. It's built into how lenders liquidate distressed assets. They don't need to hit retail. They need to hit paid and gone. Scoring a $75,000 truck for 20 feels amazing, right up until you realize the title is a mess. The truck was once underwater, literally, or somebody still has a legal claim on it. That's where a lot of too good to be true repo stories go bad. The metal you can see is only half the deal. The paper you can't see yet is the other half. If you treat title, history, and liens as optional, you can turn a $20,000 win into a $20,000 mistake faster than that tow truck ever left your driveway. So you build your process before you ever set foot in an auction lane. Every legitimate repo or auction listing will show you the vehicle identification number, the VIN. That string of characters is the truck's entire life story. You take that VIN and run it through the National Insurance Crime Bureau database to make sure it isn't stolen. Then you pay for a proper history report, whether it's Carfax or another provider. For a small fee, you see title history, reported accidents, odometer readings, flood or fire damage, and any liens that have followed that truck around. If the report doesn't line up with the photos or the description, you don't argue. You walk. Next, you figure out what the truck is actually worth in the real world, not in dealer fantasy land. Pull up Kelley Blue Book, Edmunds, and any other solid guide and look at private party value, not dealer retail. Private party is what a smart buyer pays a smart seller in a driveway. That number is your anchor. Then you build your all-in cost. If you win the bidding at $18,000 and the auction has a 10% buyer premium plus a $500 title and dock fee, your real cost is just over $20,000 before you ever put fuel in it. You know that number before you raise your hand. For anything over $10,000, you add a mobile mechanic inspection. For $100 to $200, a local tech walks that truck, pulls codes, checks for hidden body damage, and tells you if you're about to score or about to inherit someone else's nightmare. You can do everything right on paper and still blow the deal in 10 seconds if you are not ready for what a repo auction actually feels like. It is not calm. It is not slow. Whether you're standing in a lane with 100 people or watching an online timer spin down, the entire environment is designed to make you forget your plan and chase the truck. The numbers climb. The bids jump in weird increments. Somebody across the room keeps bumping your offer, and suddenly the research you did at your kitchen table does not feel as real as the fear of losing the one you came for. The biggest mistake buyers make at these auctions is not missing some hidden mechanical issue. It is bidding against their own homework. You walked in with a maximum number built on market value, condition, and total cost of ownership. That number is the only number that matters. But when the truck you have been watching all week creeps up toward your ceiling and the guy next to you raises his paddle, something flips in your brain. You start telling yourself stories. It's only 500 more. I already paid for the history report. I drove 2 hours to get here. Letting the truck go feels like losing. It isn't. Exceeding your maximum is the only way to actually lose at a repo auction. Remember who you are standing beside. Dealers bidding next to you are playing a completely different game. They can pay $24,000 for a truck and be thrilled to sell it at $32,000 next week. That's their business model. You are not in that business. For you, paying just a little bit more can erase every dollar of savings you came here to capture and put you right back in retail territory at an auction that was supposed to pull you out of it. So you write your maximum bid down before the auction starts. You make it real and fixed before the room gets loud. And when the price ticks $1 over that line, you walk away clean. In a repo market where more than 1 million vehicles cycle through in a year, and platforms like Copart and SCA add new inventory every week, there is no last truck. The listings you are staring at are being replaced constantly by new repos coming into the system. The people who win in this environment are not the ones who grab the first truck that feels good. They are the ones patient enough to let the bad deals pass and disciplined enough to only pounce when the math and their maximum line up. Before we wrap this up, remember saving money on the front end is only half the game. The truck you buy today still has to be the truck you want to own 5 years from now. That's exactly why I put together my free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. If you haven't grabbed it yet, hit the link in the description. It walks through the models most likely to blow up your budget with repairs and depreciation, so the truck you steal at auction doesn't turn into the one that quietly drains your bank account later. Now you're back on that dealership lot again, standing in front of the same shiny truck with the chrome wheels and the market adjustment sticker glued to the window. The salesperson is still smiling. The numbers on the payment sheet still say $800, $900, maybe $1,200 a month for the next 6 or 7 years. Nothing about that world has changed. They're still going to walk you into the little glass office, slide the pen across the desk and tell you, this is just what trucks cost. The only thing that's different now is you. You've seen what's happening on the other side of the fence, because while that dealer is rehearsing their payment speech, there is a repo lot, a credit union lane, a bank auction, or a GSA sale, where that same class of truck is about to cross the block for half of what they're asking you to pay. Somewhere in the last year, someone stretched too far for a truck, just like the one in front of you, hit the wall on those payments, and had it quietly pulled out of their driveway. That truck didn't disappear. It entered the system you now understand. Recovery, redemption, liquidation. It flowed into one of 4 doors regular people can walk through. Got listed with a VIN you can check, a history you can read, and a starting bid that looks insane if all you've ever seen is dealer retail. So the next time someone hands you a payment sheet and tells you, this is just the market, you get to decide whether that's true for you. You can sign their number, carry that debt for most of a decade, and hope nothing blows up along the way. Or you can go home, open a laptop, and start pulling VINs on trucks sitting on lots your bank and your dealer hope you never discover. If you're going to step into that world, do it the right way. Use the tools we talked about. Be ruthless with your maximum bid. Walk away from anything with a sketchy title or a story that doesn't add up. Let the bank's urgency work for you instead of against you. And before you chase any specific truck, repo or retail, do yourself one more favor. Make sure the model you're about to commit to isn't one of the long-term disasters hiding in this market. That's exactly why I put together my free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars in 2026. If you haven't grabbed it yet, hit the link in the description. It will show you which trucks and SUVs are most likely to nuke your budget with repairs and depreciation, so the deal you're hunting today doesn't turn into regret 3 years from now. Now that you know where these $75,000 trucks actually go when they disappear from somebody else's driveway, the only real question left is this: are you still going to sign the payment they put in front of you, or are you finally going to walk through the side door they never talk about?